I would have to credit my mother for getting me hooked on disc dogging. I even had my own Frisbee dog. Her name was Beans. Like when I was 16, we had some things that happened and we didn't get to keep Beans around or anything, but she was technically my first ever Frisbee dog. And then I left for the military, came back, met Kelly. Kelly wanted to get a dog. We lived in a 3rd floor apartment. I'm like, I don't want a dog. This is not for us right now. She convinced me to drive all the way down to Colorado Springs. Maggie was there in the PetSmart, and I picked her up. Maggie licked me on the cheek. I looked at Kelly like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Like, this is how it's gonna start. And sure enough, I couldn't put her down. And then I'm searching on the internet one day and they say at Summerset Festival at Clement Park, there's a Frisbee dog event. I'm like, Kelly, we're going to check this out. We sat on the bleachers next to the field. It was just me and Maggie, and I had her on her leash, and Maggie's just watching these dogs back and forth, like, and I'm with Maggie. I'm like, this is awesome. It's everything I remembered from being a kid. The competition got over. I went over and asked, like, how can I get started in this? The Colorado Disc Dogs, they hooked me up with a disc, and I went home, and first thing I did was jumped on YouTube, and I was like, Frisbee dog, blah, 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 blah. So the next day, I took Maggie out with my one Frisbee that we had, and I threw a roller. She went, hunted it down. Very next throw, I give her a little 10-footer. She ran it down, and it's been history ever since. 2 years later, we were world champions. About 6 months after we started, from when we saw that competition, it was the Colorado Disc Dogs' last event of the season. So from September to about April, in Colorado, we're not playing disc dog very much because the weather is kind of crummy. It gets dark really early. There's not too much we could do. But as soon as the spring training opened that very next year, Maggie and I were the first ones in line. And we're like, signing up. We are here to do this. Like, this is what I want to do. And we showed up and it was amazing. Like, it was probably too much for me to take in at first. There were all these people playing with their dogs and they were so welcoming in and we were having so much fun. How do you do a freestyle routine? That was the last thing I asked. And they were like, well, just keep watching YouTube and you can build ideas from there and that kind of stuff. And 2 weeks later was our first competition. It was Thornton Fest. And I signed up with Maggie. We signed up for novice toss and catch. So we get out to the field and we had 0 catches our first day. We went 0 for 4 in our first round and 0 for 4 in our second round. And I sat there for like 8 hours that day and threw 8 times. But I'm watching all these people that are playing freestyle with their dogs to music and that kind of stuff. And I'm a pretty outgoing guy, so I'm not nervous in front of people. And I looked at Kelly and I was like, well, if we're gonna be here all day to do this, I'm doing that too. The very next event, I signed up for open freestyle. Probably the hardest thing that's ever happened to me in disc dogging happened after that event. And I had a lady come up to me and she was like, you know, I think if you're gonna plan on doing freestyle with your dog any farther, you need to learn to handle the disc better. And I was like completely taken aback. Like, everybody had always been so friendly and, you know, inviting. And then there was this one person that just came and threw a little bit of shade at us for some reason. I wasn't quite sure. So instead of getting upset, what it did was it lit a fire underneath me. And I was like, so you want to see me handle a disc better? Then okay, I'm going to go learn every different type of disc frisbee throw there is. So I just went onto YouTube again and was like, unique frisbee throws. And sure enough, there's like 3 channels with guys that are like, you can throw this in ultimate and you can throw this or this. And then I started watching freestyle videos and that kind of thing. And it literally obsessed me, like, for everything, to try to learn as many new throws as I could, because I wanted to come out the next event to try to prove to her that we are worthy enough to be in the Colorado Disc Dogs Club. So we came back out and just crushed it the next time. At first, I was so upset with that lady that told me that, but now I'm like so thankful for her, because had she not said that, who knows how much fire or how much nervousness I would have had to continue doing what we were doing. To get started, I think the biggest thing you can do is if you've seen any type of freestyle routines like that before, you know the person's name, just go up and introduce yourself and talk to that person and get that person's name. You don't have to go straight up to them and be like, hey, Mike, I saw all your stuff. How do you do this, 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 and this? But as long as you can go up and find out what their name is, then you can go home, YouTube their name and disc dogging, and then you'll start to come up with videos and see previous routines of what those people have done. And that's what really helped me. Then you start building small sequences like that. So you'll see like, oh, I have 3 or 4 tricks that I've seen before on video that I'm gonna go out to the park that next day and try to do those ones. And then next thing you know, my journal was like 3 pages long of all this stuff that I wanted to do. So I would like be flipping back and forth between pages, just so excited to be like, oh, I want to try this one. And I want to try this one. And then I want to try this one, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently to try to put my own little style on it, because I've seen everybody does it the same way, but I kind of want to do it that way, but just a little bit different, like a little flashier, put my own little, salt and pepper on that trick to make it taste just perfect for us. You know what I'm saying? The sport grows from the people within the sport being open and welcoming to people that they might not necessarily be so open and willing to go and talk to out at a park or something like that, and let them know, hey, this is where you can get these. This is the type of plastic you might want to get for your dog and that kind of thing. And I think it just really helps to grow the sport by being open to inviting other people to play. I'm going to be open and willing to answer any questions, especially if there's any type of kids involved or anything like that, because the kids will put the pressure on the parents to come out and play more and that kind of thing. And I think that's really what's helped out a lot too. The other thing I think would help grow the sport more is there's a lot of dog sports in the world, but Frisbee or disc dogging is the one dog sport in which there takes some type of skill level of the handler to engage the dog. So like in agility, those guys are running through their trials, their jumps and their loops and everything. And it takes a bond between the two, but it really is making sure the person is in the right place to put the dog in the right position. Where in disc, we're got to be in the right place to put the dog in the right position and then also throw the disc to make it finish off the trick. In fly ball, they're teaching their dogs to run extremely fast, back and forth, to try to get those balls and get the fastest times that they can and that kind of thing, which translates to our toss and catch like instantly. Because as soon as you throw a disc out and toss and catch and your dog gets it, the idea is to get your dog back as fast as possible. So to grow the sport, reach out to those other dog sports and make it less intimidating on those folks to come out and try by giving simple tips on, how to throw so they're the most consistent, so their dogs are catching the disc, because it's never any fun if you go out to try to throw to your dog and it just floppies off into the grass constantly, right? So I always try to send them home with just a quick little throwing lesson on how to get some snap, how to put it in front of their dog so their dog catches it. And that catch right there is so satisfying for the person and the dog that just that simple thing right there is what's going to bring more and more people into the sport. And I think what it just boils down to is just showing people throwing the disc is not nearly as hard as they have it figured out in their head that it's difficult. The competitive side is for us as humans. The dogs would go out and play in the park, whether there's flags around, there's music playing, it doesn't matter to them. They're just going out to play. And I think what a lot of people need to realize is that's the actual thing. The dogs just want to go out and play. So if you use that with a little bit of, skill to teach them how to throw the disc so that they're, consistent and get some catches and stuff, it goes a long way. You throw that Frisbee out a couple times, your dog gets super excited, and then you take it away from them. That's the key to it. Take your dog out, give them 3 or 4 throws, get them super excited for it, and then stop playing. It's the hardest thing in disc dogging to do. But what happens is the next time you come out, your dog remembers the last time it played with that Frisbee. So it was like, oh, the last time we played with this thing, it was the most exciting thing in the whole entire world. And for me, I was getting just as excited as Maggie was for this disc. So we're out there, we're playing. I would like give myself 10 throws. I would get Maggie so excited. She would catch a really long one. I would be so excited. I'd keep wanting to play for another hour, but I would go sit in the car and take her inside. It's like the hardest thing in the world to do. And then I would go out and I would like tie Maggie up next to the fence with me. And she would see me throw without her getting to go and catch the discs. And then I would let her off the leash and she would just be berserko because she's like, I want to play with that thing if you're playing with that thing. And then next thing you know, you've just built up this desire to play Frisbee to where when you go out to the park, all those things that were so exciting before are not nearly as exciting as that one little piece of plastic in your hand. So Kelly and I, disc dog is our break from our stressful lives. So it's always been our thing together. So there was no doubt in my mind that when we had a kid, our child would just come to disc dog competitions with us. Like, we're not going to change the things we do in life just because we have a kid. We're just going to change the way we do things at these events because we have a kid now. We've been taking Emma to disc dog competition since she was literally like 3 months old. She was born in April. Her first event was at the end of May. I mean, we have so many pictures and family memories now of being at disc dog events that it's just kind of second nature to us. And it's so cool now that I get to see Emma interact with my dogs the same way that I interact with the dogs. You know, you always say that your kids are growing into your footsteps and that kind of stuff. You never really notice it until you see your 7-year-old daughter off to the side of the field teaching your dogs the same exact way that you're taught your dogs, but you never taught your daughter how to do that. She just learned it via osmosis of, you know, coming with me. It's really bonded our family even more so. All right, so number one, the greatest dog disc in the history of the world ever made is the Hero Disc Xtra 235 Distance. I have won more competitions with that disc than any other disc that anybody else has ever made. It glides perfectly. It's definitely beginner friendly. It's easy on dogs to first learn how to catch. It holds itself when any kind of wind conditions or anything like that. It punctures sometimes if you have a hard mouth dog, but it will still fly straight. And it's just the perfect disc for anybody really to learn how to throw because it's super easy. It's super forgiving, so you don't have to throw it just right every time, but it's still going to glide out there enough for your dog to have an opportunity to run underneath it to catch it. And you can throw it as ever far as you want. You can throw it 80 yards if you want to, or you could just throw it 10 feet. It's really everything to me. All of my friends and family and the deepest, closest people that I know were found and made because of a little piece of plastic and my red Border Collie Maggie. I wouldn't have any of these people, any of these fans, I don't have any fans, any of my friends or family or any of these things from all over the country, I wouldn't have any of them if it wasn't for that little piece of plastic and my dog, you know? And those are the things that I cherish the most, is those relationships that I've built. I love these people. Like, it really has changed my life, for sure. Big time. Man, got me all teary-eyed.